Today, I have a very special video topic that's been trending in the Roblox and anime community for a while now. And it's a unique matchup of discussing who would win in a fight between Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen versus Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds. The Honored One, Satoru Gojo, versus the Supreme Queen Addison Ranae. These are two immensely strong and powerful characters that dominate their own versatile story. This is the Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds, and this is the Honored One, Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. And in both of their stories and verse, they stand out as one of the strongest characters from their verse. In a way, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae and Satoru Gojo are just so immensely strong and powerful that they both single-handedly stand out as some of the biggest conditions and obstacles that our villains or heroes have to overcome to see their goals through. So their impact on the narrative compared to everyone else around them in their respective stories or verse is basically unparalleled. Satoru Gojo and Supreme Queen Addison Ranae also have a pretty unique matchup where their abilities are complete opposite fighting styles, because Supreme Queen Addison Ranae play style in a fight is completely offensive, whereas Satoru Gojo has a more defensive counterplay style in a fight. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds possesses an incredibly strong offensive technique and capabilities passed down from the royal Ranae family bloodline that allows her to deliver incredibly powerful, deadly and devastating slashes, and even fiery slashes that's capable of world-altering potential to beat her opponents that broke the balancing of the game and can even break the laws of physics and distort and manipulate the reality around it. Whereas Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen possesses a ridiculous amount of hacks that makes him untouchable by everyone from his story. It is stated that Satoru Gojo was at least 100 times better than everyone from Jujutsu Kaisen, where he was also said to be in a league of his own compared to everyone else. Satoru Gojo and Supreme Queen Addison Ranae are so strong that they're often matched against other powerful fictional characters. Overall, this is an interesting topic to talk about, and in this video, this is exactly what we're going to be discussing. We will going over Satoru Gojo and Supreme Queen Addison Ranae stats, movesets, abilities, techniques, and all of the above to get a good idea of who could possibly win this matchup. Before I begin, I would like to say that I'm a small content creator, by the way, and I mainly do videos like this for fun, covering Roblox and anime and doing anime related music videos. If you're interested in that, then you can subscribe if you want more videos like that. But with that out the way, let's begin. First off, I'll be setting the conditions for this hypothetical fight, where the fight will take place in the Jujutsu Kaisen story, and the only win conditions will be by kill, knockout, or beyond. And we will start by covering everything Supreme Queen Addison Ranae can do and what she is capable of. And then we will get into Satoru Gojo and cover his abilities also and what he is capable of. And then we will compare the two to see who could come out the victor of this matchup. Beginning with Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds. A lot of new viewers to the channel likely does not know who this is, and so I'm going to address the elephant in the room and give you an explanation. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae is the Supreme Queen and ruler of authority from the Elemental Battlegrounds game. You can actually Google Supreme Queen Addison Ranae online to see results about her if you're interested or likely want a more clear understanding. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae is one of the best and greatest players from Elemental Battlegrounds, who is the most famously known and recognized individual of the entire Elemental Battlegrounds community that has a recent made fictional character inspired by her on Wikipedia sources. And it's that fictional character that's directly inspired by her that we will be talking about in the match-up fight against Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. First and foremost, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae techniques revolves around severing and slashing techniques. that's similar to an opponent Satoru Gojo has already fought before in the anime that's identified as Ryoman Sukuna, with the only differences being that Supreme Queen Addison Ranae is definitely stronger than Ryoman Sukuna, because Supreme Queen Addison Ranae is both capable of not just simple slashing techniques. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae can weaponize fury slashes that can sever and burn through matter simultaneously. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae does this by turning her slashes into arcs of superheated solar flames that are concentrated into forms of slashes. Make note, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae cannot send out slashes from her hands like Ryoman Sukuna does from the Jujutsu Kaisen anime. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae can only send out and utilize slashing techniques from her weapon, that is a scythe, that she named Gogmazios. Gogmazios is the name of her scythe weapon that she can spawn and despawn at will to aid her in combat. For context, this scythe Gogmazios that Supreme Queen Addison Ranae possesses is an incredibly powerful weapon that's said to be the strongest weapon in Elemental Battlegrounds history, that's often even compared to mythological figures like Zeus's thunderbolt from actual real-life mythology. Also be aware that everything that's been said here can be shown on Google searches. But moving on, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae has an inherent power that's identified as Hell Scythe that makes up her main techniques and capabilities. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae techniques are the Hell Scythe Prominent Scythe Slash, aka Prominent Slashes, Hell Scythe Semigod Impacted Slash, aka Semigod Slashes, Hell Scythe Prominent Scythe Burn Slash, aka Prominent Fiery Slashes, Hell Scythe Scythe Soul Destroying Slashes, aka Soul Destroying Slashes, Hell Scythe Reality Cutting Slash, aka Reality Altering Slashes, and Hell Scythe Death Scythe technique, aka the Attack of No Return. To better explain what you just heard in a more simpler format, think of Supreme Queen Addison Ranae's specialized slashing techniques as just prominent slashes, semi-god slashes, fiery slashes, soul-destroying slashes, reality-altering slashes, and the Death Scythe slash ultimate technique, with the exception of the prominent and semi-god slashes definitely being her main slashing techniques. Prominent slashes are what Addison can spam or repeatedly use almost infinity due to the low amount of energy required to use them, that are strong enough to literally obliterate rock formations. And semi-god slashes are more potent than prominent slashes, because Supreme Queen Addison Ranae's semi-god slashes can absorb an opponent's strength and power and redirect it back at them in the form of slashes known as semi-god, slashes that allows her take on much bigger and stronger opponents. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Fiery slashes known as Prominence Fiery slashes are where we are getting into her more stronger techniques, because Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Fiery slashes are arcs of superheated solar flames concentrated into blades, two that sever and burn matter and opponents simultaneously. But the real danger of Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Fiery slashes is how extraordinary hot they are. According to online sources, the Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Fiery slashes that are concentrated into blades can reach imaginable high temperatures of 120 million degrees Fahrenheit to trillions of degrees Kelvin, meaning Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Fiery slashes are burn hotter than a burning star, and they are also capable of destroying cities and landscapes very easily. Approaching flames burning so imaginably hot would be like approaching something hotter than the core of a sun. And next is Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Soul Destroying Slashes, which are slashes meant for targeting and destroying the soul of a living being by delivering slashes that bypass conventional durability of the target and striking the soul within. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Reality Cutting Slashes are a special unique slashing technique that cuts through space itself, allowing these slashes by Addison to completely ignore and bypass conventional durability and defenses similar to Ryoman Sukuna world cutting slash, which is said to cut the world itself, and the very reality that we live in. And finally, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae, Death Scythe technique, is her strongest technique out of her 5 other specialized slashing techniques. Its nickname alone shows you how powerful it is, because Supreme Queen Addison Ranae Death Scythe technique is known as the attack of no return, meaning if this attack has made contact with you, then you are likely not coming back from it. I kinda don't feel like explaining this technique of Addison in full detail, but the straightforward explanation is that it's a mix of her previous techniques put into a single overwhelming attack that erases you off the plane of existence, meaning it's an attack strong enough to annihilate you from time and space. A unscientific impossibility. Addison's strongest technique is that powerful. On the other side of the spectrum, I'll let another content creator go over Satoru Gojo abilities and what Gojo can do and is capable of, because to be honest, I'm not entirely caught up with everything Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen can do, and I don't want to leave anything out or get wrong, so I'll display a video of someone going over his abilities and what Satoru Gojo is capable of.
Gojo serves as a mentor figure for the protagonist Yuji Itadori in the story of Jujutsu Kaisen. For a majority of the story, no character is even able to really lay a scratch on him, let alone match him in strength, until Sukuna, the strongest sorcerer in history, would find a way to transcend time and space in order to manifest himself into the current age and challenge Gojo towards the end of the series. This is what was required for Gojo to even be matched in strength, let alone overcome. In the present era, Gojo was hundreds of times stronger than really everybody else around him and stood far beyond his own verse, besides again, Sukuna. Satoru Gojo boasts insane stats compared to all those around him. It's to a point where even without his hats, he wouldn't even be grazed by anybody else in the cast. To begin with the strength of Gojo, or the damage he can really put out, we know that when he was released from the prison realm, he was able to create an earthquake that pretty much shook all of Japan. But I mean, honestly, we all know that Gojo's physical strength isn't going to make much of a difference in this matchup specifically, so we'll just focus on his attack potency. We know the upper limits of Gojo's attack potency can be shown through his unlimited hollow technique purple. This attack being shown to rip and tear through a massive portion of Shinjuku when set up and enhanced properly through his own chanting. At Gojo's absolute peak of damage output, he's certainly large city or maybe even mountain at best. More important to this battle than really anything else is going to be Gojo's speed. Gojo without a doubt is the fastest sorcerer of the original series, being able to match up to Sukuna, who perception blitzed a character who is relative with the likes of Yuta Okkotsu and Hakari Kinji, the latter of which would be shown somewhat dodging a lightning bolt to the face. It's a bit hard to get into the speed of Jujutsu Kaisen, as usually, for 95% of the battles, no matter how much of a speed difference there is, the characters will choose to play at each other's level. Not only this, but the best feats in scaling are right in our faces, so trying to dive deep into the speed of Jujutsu Kaisen only becomes more confusing, needless, and just not worth it. If you had to ask me, from chain scaling Hakari, Ryu, and Sukuna, Gojo sits at hypersonic speeds and can move even faster when applying blue to himself. Gojo without a doubt has durability that is large city, as is equal Sukuna, withstood multiple attacks from Gojo himself that could devastate city. Gojo's durability is likely a non-factor in this matchup, no matter how high it scales. As for his intelligence, he is a natural genius. He is one of those geniuses who is good at everything they try no matter what. Gojo is so talented really, that he is the benchmark for talent in the series, as he is constantly referenced when any feats of brilliance are shown in the show, which is where the whole sole exception of Satoru Gojo meme comes from. Gojo is also insanely tactical when in battle, and really can generate 1 million IQ plays or counterplays on the spot, even under immense pressure. When it comes to Gojo's abilities, these are really going to be the only and best chance that Gojo has. First and foremost, the neutral state of his cursed technique, the Limitless Infinity. Infinity provides a barrier that, simply puts, stops anything from ever reaching the target that is Gojo himself. It will endlessly cut the distance between Gojo and the attacker in half. But mathematically speaking, no matter how many times you cut something in half, it will never reach zero. or in the instance of this technique, Gojo himself. Take a calculator and try to divide 1 by 2 until you reach 0. It will never happen. There's a little more to this technique, but really most explanations just drag it out and provide too much information, which ends up confusing the viewer. So here, I simplified it so you guys can pick it up easy. The only way to bypass this technique would be to use something that can nullify supernatural phenomena or just erase the concept of space. The infinity alone is an insane ability, but with that technique, Gojo's only getting started. Next up is Gojo's go-to technique, Blue. When Gojo amplifies the limitless and the negative space in really any area he chooses, he creates a void within the world. The universe immediately notices that this void should not exist and responds to it by creating an extraordinarily powerful pull force to instantly fill this void of space that Gojo has created. Gojo uses this technique to send his enemies flying a lot of times, but this is Gojo we're talking about, so he can exploit this pull force in multiple ways, using it to instantly move his body to where he desires, or in other words, teleportation, or he can just manipulate his speed to create actor images rather than teleporting if he wants to confuse his opponent. He can also use Blue to turn into tiny spears and shoot at his opponents to create negative spaces within them, as he did against Sukuna, these tiny orbs being able to remove parts of his body upon contact. Gojo can also use this technique to amplify his punches, as displayed in his battle against Sukuna, as he uses Blue to put the void of space in between his fist and his opponents, pulling his fist and them toward the void in order to fill it, adding a lot more power to his punches by law of acceleration. Gojo can also use Red. This is one that repels his opponent instead of attracting them, and it can repel his opponent with so much force that we would first see it used against Jogo, sending him flying across an entire force. And when shot at Sukuna, it always did massive damage to him. This is created from Gojo's positive curse energy, and as a result of this, has doubled the damage of Blue, or in other words, doubled the attack potency. Gojo seems to be able to delay the explosion of Red, and can also activate it without shooting it if he so chooses. Unlike Blue though, Red doesn't really seem to provide much utility, only serving as a magnetic cannon at the atomic level. When combining both Blue and Red, Gojo can create and shoot an unstoppable spear that rips apart all matter at a molecular level. This technique being the Hollow Technique Purple. This seems to serve as Gojo's finisher and most powerful move. There really seems to be nothing that could withstand this technique head on in the series of Jujutsu Kaisen, as really most characters would try to avoid it, and when hit by it, their body parts were always melted, burnt off, things of that nature. Gojo, when battling against Sukuna, would take this technique to a level that is higher than it already was, shooting Blue and Red separately and amplifying his Blue using chanting in order to drag the Red into it and to generate the unlimited Hollow Purple, a variant of purple that destroys all within its range, even Gojo himself. This technique brought Sukuna to near death. However, it does not damage Gojo as much as it would anybody else, as getting attacked by your own curse energy does not hurt you as much as it would any other character. Gojo was also able to come up with this purple extension off the cuff, a testament to his insane battle IQ. It also requires a lot of setup though, but this is Gojo Satoru, so maybe he could or couldn't pull it off. It just depends on his opponent. Gojo also has a domain expansion called the Infinite Void. A domain expansion in Jujutsu Kaisen contains the targets within a space, and within this space, a sure hit, cannot miss attack or effect will hit the opponent no matter what. Gojo's domain expansion has the effect of hitting his opponent with non-stop infinite information. This usually results in anybody inflicted having their brain fried and entering into a state of shock, stunning them. The duration of the shock does depend on how long they've been exposed to the domain expansion and how strong they are as a combatant overall. With that, we've covered Gojo.
Now that we analyzed all the data on the Honored One, Satoru Gojo, and the Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from the verses Jujutsu Kaisen and Elemental Battlegrounds, we can speculate and analyze who could possibly win in the matchup while discussing how their abilities could interact with each other. I'm very excited to talk about this, but I'm also very aware of how sensitive Satoru Gojo fans are and their bias towards Satoru Gojo. While there's many fans of Satoru Gojo and Supreme Queen Addison Ranae, I will not be biased towards one character or another, and will only be displaying the facts. There will be no biased opinions towards Satoru Gojo or Supreme Queen Addison Ranae, so please don't grill me in the comments. But anyways, let's begin with analyzing who could win in this hypothetical fight. First and foremost, I've seen Satoru Gojo Infinity Technique be the biggest argument for fans online when matching him up against other powerful fictional characters from different stories. Satoru Gojo Infinity will be useful in blocking Addison Prominent and semi-guard slashes, because I don't believe either of Supreme Queen Addison, Ranae main slashing techniques can bypass Satoru Gojo Infinity, because Addison main slashing techniques are never stated to be able to cut through space itself, which is one of the only two ways of bypassing Satoru Gojo Infinity, meaning Supreme Queen Addison. Ranae main slashing techniques are completely useless against Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen and can't even be used as an argument. Google searches openly says this also, but however, like how Satoru Gojo is really smart, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae is highly intelligent and will without a doubt realize this, because Addison main techniques aim to sever things in half. Once Addison notices her slashing techniques are not doing what they are intended to do and aren't doing anything to Satoru Gojo, she will use her other techniques that can and will bypass Gojo Infinity. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae literally has 4 slashing techniques that are capable of ignoring and bypassing Satoru Gojo Infinity. But this does not mean Satoru Gojo will turn his Infinity off, even if he's dealing with an opponent that can bypass it, because this was demonstrated in his fight with Ryoma Sukuna. Addison main techniques that can bypass Gojo Infinity are her reality-cutting slashes, her soul-destroying slashes, prominence fiery slashes, and her ultimate technique that's identified as the Death Scythe technique. Addison has plenty of techniques within her arsenal to fight Satoru Gojo, like his Infinity simply does not exist. So the argument of Addison main slashing techniques and Gojo Infinity being factors or win conditions are now irrelevant arguments, because now Supreme Queen Addison and Satoru Gojo will need their more advanced techniques to truly be able to get an edge over the other. Another argument I see fans bring up about Satoru Gojo is his domain expansion. Arguably one of the most popular and famously recognized abilities within his techniques, Satoru Gojo domain expansion that's identified as Infinite Void overrides the brain of the target, trapped in the domain with infinite information, causing the victim brain to be literally fried from the infinite amount of information. If this technique hits Addison, then it's literally game over for her, but the question and argument lies in if it hits her. From what we know about Satoru Gojo domain expansion is that it only takes effect after it's formed or when the conditions is met, right, to take effect with the effects of the domain, not being instant, meaning there's a short window of time to dodge it. The issue is that domain expansions in Jujutsu Kaisen are not inherently made to trap opponents inside of them, but Gojo domain seems to function differently. It's all about if the domain hits Addison in the first place. Would Addison let herself be trapped in it? Obviously she would not. But according to Google searches, it would take immense power to break Gojo domain before it conform, which Addison does have. And since in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe, things and specific techniques are heavily dependent on cursed energy and tracking cursed energy. But the catch is that Supreme Queen Addison Ranae has no cursed energy and instead has elemental energy, because the characters from Elemental Battlegrounds rely on elemental energy in the same how Jujutsu Kaisen relies on cursed energy. So this makes this argument more interesting. Not willing to take either side on the debate regarding Satoru Gojo domain expansion, I've seen plenty of arguments online that say his domain expansion can be countered or avoided with matched against other powerful characters from different stories like Supreme Queen Addison, Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds that you're seeing in this video. I'll let you the viewers decide on whether this technique can even touch Addison or not. But one thing that is clear is that if Gojo domain expansion makes contact with Addison, then this fight will definitely be over, with Gojo obviously being the victor of this fight, because Addison would not be immune to its effects. And to be honest, I believe this is the only win condition Gojo has against Addison, because Addison does have an answer and countermeasure against all of Gojo techniques, even including his Hollow Purple technique, which is said to be an imaginary mass of pull and pull forces colliding and existing to rip apart everything in this path, which is actually a mistranslation.
Hollow Purple. Now, on to our next talking point in Gojo's favor, the Hollow Purple, arguably Gojo's most well-known and powerful attack in terms of sheer destruction. Now, firstly, we need to understand what it is. As like the memes insist, don't mess with us JJK fans, we don't read our own manga. Now, firstly, Gojo's Hollow Purple isn't what most believe. I cover it in this short right here, but to get the short rundown, no, Gojo's Hollow Purple isn't imaginary mass, and it does not erase whatever it hits. That is just not true. And even if it was, clearly there are limits, as seen with Sukuna, and the fact that it only works down to an atomic degree, meaning whatever were to hit, there would still be remnants of it, just down to the atomic scale. Now, what it actually is virtual mass. Why do people think it's imaginary? Well, that was just a translation error of the original kanji. Pretty much what it's actually doing is combining the red and blue in a literal sense. Whatever the Hollow Purple hits, it will pull and push it so violently to the point where pretty much anything gets ripped apart. Pretty much the ultimate cutting attack, destroying really anything in its way. So, would this attack work on
Addison? Likely not, since Gojo Hollow Purple is a mass of push and pull, forces ripping things apart. It's still technically made of mass, one way or another, meaning Addison should be able to just cut through this attack. And from what we've seen, Hollow Purple doesn't seem to move fast, meaning Addison could just avoid it. Even Google says that the Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds does have the power to cut through this attack without even needing to dodge it. And so the real question lies in what if it hits Addison? Would it do anything? The answer to that question is yes, it's strong enough to take her out, but that's only if it hits first. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae's scythe Gogmesios is more than capable destroying Gojo Hollow Purple, even without blocking it. And keep in mind, this is Satoru Gojo's strongest attack ever of all his techniques, with the most destructive power. Hollow Purple in the anime has been seen ripping through cities and causing huge environmental damage, but Supreme Queen Addison Ranae from Elemental Battlegrounds has immense world-altering potential, which makes Addison Ranae massively more powerful than Satoru Gojo. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae possesses attacks capable of destroying cities, rather than just causing a bit of damage. In a way, Satoru Gojo is fighting an opponent that's basically a buffed up version of a previous opponent he's lost to in the anime that's identified as Ryoman Sukuna. Supreme Queen Addison Ranae can do everything Ryoman Sukuna from Jujutsu Kaisen can do, and so much more. You can definitely see by now who will be the victor of this fight. If Satoru Gojo could not beat Ryoman Sukuna, then how is he going to fight someone who is basically a buffed up version of him? When it comes down to it, Supreme Queen Addison Ranae might not even need to try hard in this fight. Addison has plenty of techniques to cut Gojo down before he can even reveal his curse technique, with Addison having other win conditions set in place even if Gojo used his techniques. Addison literally has an answer for everything Gojo can do. This video has gotten a bit too long. I will go over Gojo's 6 eyes, but the 6 eyes just allows him to track cursed energy by reading the flow of cursed energy, which Addison does not have. So the 6 eyes argument is irrelevant considering the fact the 6 eyes have no offensive capabilities. I'm curious to what you guys think, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.